Hello, Moline High School. It is Wednesday, May 14th, 2025, and this is our last SEL lesson of the school year. So first, we're going to do some counseling updates for the different grade levels. We're going to review topics that we did this year. I'm going to kind of go over all the different things that we talked about this year, and then I have a final activity. So let's start with the seniors. Make sure that you are finishing up any credit recovery classes. Monday, May 19th is the last day of night school. If you are watching this on Wednesday, the 14th, then you have night school tonight, and then Monday, the 19th, and then actual in-person night school is completed. Ensure that you are passing classes you need for graduation. Graduation practice is on May 23rd at 10 a.m. in the BPAC. You need to attend practice in order to come to the graduation ceremony that evening. Graduation is May 23rd at 7:30 p.m. at Vibrant Arena at the Mark. You need to arrive by 6:30 p.m. Excuse me, and for the last few years I've been working here, I tell everybody wear comfortable shoes. Please make sure that you have on the right shoes to walk across the stage. You may not decorate your graduation cap. I know that's disappointing to some people, but you cannot decorate your cap. And if you have any other questions for things that you need to do to finish up your senior year, see the grade 12 Google Classroom. Now, for the juniors and the sophomores and the freshmen, credit recovery, it also ends for you guys on May 19th. Make sure you're doing what you need to do to pass your current classes. If you need to do summer school, your counselor will be reaching out to you. Schedules for next school year will be visible in Skyward shortly before school starts in August. This is a heads up that counselors cannot change schedules based on period or teacher preference. We can only change schedules if there's an error, you're missing a class, you have doubled up on a class. There's just a lot of other reasons we can move a class, but you cannot ask for a period change or a teacher move just based on a preference that you have. The first day of school for next year is August 15th, so get that on your calendars. All right, here we go. Let's talk about the topics and activities we did this school year. So first we started off talking about respect and responsibility. I came up with a definition of respect and responsibility saying that it's treating others the way you want to be treated, using kind communication even when you don't agree, and showing the world the person you want to be by doing the right thing, even when no one is looking or even when it is hard. We then did some discussion questions around the cell phone policy, school rules, social media, and communication via technology. Then we jumped into relationships. I'm gonna move my camera up here because this is a lot writing on here. I defined relationships by talking about going beyond just family, friends, and partners. Relationships exist all around us. You have a relationship with your teacher, with your friend, with your coworkers, your bosses, people at the grocery store, or even the annoying driver on the road. But one of the things that I love to talk about with students and that I talk about with my friends and my kids at home and outside of here is the relationship that you have with yourself. You really need to know about you. You need to know what makes you happy because you are the only person that you are going to be around for the rest of your life. You really need to be comfortable in your own skin. You need to figure out how to love yourself, how to appreciate yourself, all those things. So having a good relationship with yourself is really important. Then we talked about putting relationships, respect, and responsibility all together. And teaching respect and responsibility is a little difficult. You just need to, it comes down to action. How do you respect people? How do you show responsibility? How do other people look responsible and respectful to you? It's literally not just the words. It's really easy to talk about what you should do as compared to what you will do and what you have done. Having respect and responsibility can lead to having good and healthy relationships. And being respectful and responsible makes you feel better about yourself, which in turn helps you to care about yourself and love yourself and do things to respect and be responsible to yourself. Okay, then we jumped into self-regulation, which was one of my favorite topics to talk about this year, when we talked about the brain, feelings, and thinking connections. So, self-regulation is the ability to stay in control of your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors in order to make good decisions. It's really important because it gives us ways of coping with our emotions so that we find better ways of managing our frustration, sadness, and our fear. Then we looked at the picture, again, the picture from the other page. We talked about the brain. We talked about the limbic system being the emotional center of the brain, the feeling part, that the amygdala is inside there. You have two, one on each side of the brain. The scientists usually call these the panic button. They work really quickly and cause us to have an immediate response. And then you have the outside of your brain, which is the cortex, which is the thinking part of your brain. And when you're a baby, the cortex is not very developed, but as you learn to talk and think, it keeps developing more and more. And the more connections you make, the stronger it gets. So that's how your thinking brain is developed. You start making connections. When you're a baby, if I cry, I get food or I get my diaper changed or whatever, you make those connections on how to respond. And then sometimes you don't even have to cry to get those responses. So it's all about making connections. As you grow, you think faster, and some things like knowing how to walk or talk seem very automatic. You don't even need to think about them anymore. So, how can you remember how the brain works? This is where you hold up your hand if you're looking at your palm. This represents our brain. The wrist and the middle of the palm is the brain stem and the spinal cord. Put your thumb in your palm. This is your limbic system with the amygdala. When you put your fingers around your thumb, this is the cortex. So when the amygdala is control when the amygdala is in control, it says that we flipped our lid. It puts our thinking brain all out of whack and we let all the feelings take control. And we get hijacked by our amygdala. We let our feelings take over our thinking, or you flip your lid. What you really want to do is keep that thinking brain in control and keep calm. Doesn't mean you can't have feelings. It doesn't mean you can't have strong feelings. It's just how you react to them. That's what we're looking at. Again, you can maintain good control if you use the thinking part of your brain to override that panic button. To get control of your feelings and calm down, you got to stop and do something immediately. You can do breathing exercises. You can just walk away, find a different location, walk away from the situation to get yourself calmed down. You need to think about how you're feeling, kind of say the problem out loud, say how you feel. It doesn't need to be quiet, it doesn't need to be relaxed, but if you're not acting out, if you're not hurting other people, you're not hurting yourself, you have to find ways to get the emotion out and feel the feelings that you're feeling. It makes your brain stronger and stronger every time you use that thinking part to strengthen those connections. And the more we do it and the stronger your brain becomes, you feel like you're the one in control. And then it gets even easier each time you do it. It does take a lot of practice, and that's why it's usually easier for adults to do. We've had a longer time of practicing how to control our emotions. That then moved us into self-regulation strategies. So we've talked a lot about self-regulation strategies over the last few years that I've been here. Mindfulness, being aware of the present moment without judgment. Breathing exercises, grounding, and cognitive reframing are some of the self-regulation strategies we discussed. And these are going to be on a link later, so you'll hear more about those as we go. Then we went into empathy and sympathy. So, empathy is being able to imagine what emotions a person is feeling. Even when you don't actually exactly know what they're going through, you understand that someone is having an emotion. And you understand what that emotion is like because maybe you've experienced something similar, or if somebody is experiencing grief, then you can be like, oh, I've experienced grief before. You guys might not be feeling the exact same thing, but you understand that the other person is having an emotion and you understand what the emotion is because you've had that emotion before. Empathy helps us care about others and build relationships. Sympathy, on the other hand, is very surface level. You don't really feel like you're in that other person's shoes. You just literally say, "Oh, I'm really sorry you're going through that." And you can be genuine about that and you can mean, "I'm very sorry you're going through that." But you don't really have a deep connection to that person's feelings. You literally just feel sorry that they're going through something, but you don't have like a deep connection and you don't really empathize with them. Empathy is when you really understand that you are that this person is going through something. You just acknowledge it and you go, "Yep, I get that you're going through this. Do you need me to walk next to you while you do it? Do you need me to sit with you while you do it?" And you just really care that somebody is dealing with something. Then we talked about self awareness. To be self aware is to be able to realistically assess your strengths and weaknesses while maintaining a positive mindset. So, not judging yourself, still saying positive. Doesn't mean that everything that you think about is always positive. Like, you could be like, "Wow, I'm really mad at myself for doing something wrong." But as long as you don't bring yourself down and think of yourself as a bad person, you can still think in a positive mindset. Be like, "Okay, how do I learn from this mistake?" It's your ability to judge where you are and determine what you would like to be like and set goals to achieve your vision. So again, doesn't mean that everything's all unicorns and rainbows all the time. It just means that you're able to be like, "Okay, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing." Even if you made a mistake, even if you did something wrong, being able to acknowledge that you did that and looking at how to correct it or how to change for the future, that's still a positive mindset. Then the last topic that we talked about was decision making, and we talked about the process of making choices by identifying a decision, gathering information, and assessing alternative solutions. So you identify the problem, analyze the situation, brainstorm solutions, or just a really easy three-step process: stop, think, and choose. So then last week, we're all the way up till, not last week, last SEL lesson. We went through SNAP decisions, about how many decisions you make in a day. We talked about influencers of decisions, friends, family culture, etc. And then we also talked about understanding why you make decisions. So thinking about your goals and your values and your strengths and your skills and your likes and your dislikes. The last thing we talked about in that lesson was the consequences. That consequences are the results of your decisions. They can be positive, negative, or neutral. Remember when we did that whole thing where I talked about like walking through my day and like just my morning real quick about taking a shower and what socks I put on. And we talked about what if I chose a pair of socks that had holes in them? Like normally putting on a pair of socks is a very neutral decision, right? Doesn't mean anything. I put socks on that day. But if I put on holey socks and they annoy my feet, that ended up being a negative decision for me because I put on the wrong socks that day. So again, many decisions can be very neutral, where other decisions are positive versus negative. We also talked about them being immediate. So sometimes you get an immediate return on the decision that you made, and sometimes something can have a long-term consequence, depending on the decision that you made. Also, talking about how consequences of decisions can affect yourself and can affect others. Then the last thing I wanted to point out that we did during our school year is we did the CCRI. We did that more than once because we have to talk about the college and career readiness indicators, because it is a state of Illinois thing. So you used Zello to get onto your Zello account to look up careers and colleges and all that good stuff. So we completed a matchmaker, you found careers that line up with your interest, and you saved at least three, and then checked off college and career indicators that apply to you. That's junior and senior year. Okay, now we are to our activity. So I have two things for you in your grade level Google Classroom. I don't know if any of the teachers here do this, and if you've already done one, that's amazing, but I always like to do a writing a letter to your future self. And I wanted to make this activity kind of more just 1 year from now. That's all I wanted. You're going to use the Dear Future Self document in your Google Classroom to write the letter. I started some prompts on it, so I will show you what that looks like real fast. So I wrote, Dear Future Me, 1 year from now. Today is May 14th, and I want you to know. This year I have learned some things about high school. I wish I would have done. Please remember to. These are the people I trust and can reach out to when I need help. These are not the only things that you can write about. I just wanted to give you some prompts to get you started. You can write whatever you want. You could write about some of the lessons that you liked or the activities that you liked or something you want to know more about. But yeah, I would love for you to write a letter to yourself. You can save it in your Google Drive and you can even read it next year. And I will even direct you guys next year at the end of the year to read your future self documents and see what it sparks up for you. I also put a list of all of the activities that we did this year, or most of them, I should say. So I have that all on one document, and this is also located in your grade level Google Classroom under today's assignment. So you can go through and look at the self-regulation strategies, the empathy versus sympathy activities, self-awareness quiz, the would you rather, the decision making, and a reminder on how to get onto Zello. So that is all I have for this 2024-2025 school year. I hope that everyone has a fabulous summer, and I will see you all when you come back, except for you seniors. Congratulations on your graduation. I'm so excited for you. I will be at graduation this year, so I will see you there. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.